Hey everybody, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty, giving you my weekly comic book review. So sit back and enjoy. Alright everybody, for those of you that know the drill, I go over a bunch of comic books for the week that I chose to read. Now I didn't have time to read everything, so if I missed something you think I should have read, let me know in the comments below. Also, you may disagree with me on some of my choices. If that's the case, that's alright. Let me know below. Let's just try to keep it civil. My goal is to bring back the old schoolyard days, where we would be discussing what hero could beat who or what comic book was good and not. And I come armed with my trusty notes, so you'll hear the paper rattle because I do it a little bit old school. I do my grading on a scale of 0 through 10, 7 being average as a 70%. So I'm using schoolyard grading. But that's not all. I also use the League of Comics Geeks to give you other people's views as well as a brief overview of the comic book as well. So let's jump right in. All right, welcome back everybody to the weekly comic book review. Woo! Yeah, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We're going to talk about some comic books. Let's jump right into it. We're talking about Nightwing issue number 124, which on the League of Comics Geeks had a 4.2 average rating with 280 ratings, so it was very positive. You know what? I give this one a pretty good score too, with a 7.8. The writer is Dan Waters, and artist is Dexter Soy. And it is time for a heist. To save the lives of one of Bloodhaven's gangs, Nightwing must stage a heist. Yeah, he has to stage a heist. But revelations of the corporation's true sinister nature threaten to shatter his very reality, which we all seen this coming, let's be honest. We knew that what we were getting in here. This was sort of a redone story a zillion times, but it's still not a bad issue. I think this issue has a really cool cover with Nightwing on the motorcycle. It's a pretty good one. Don't care for the alternate covers very much on this issue. But anyway, we have two rival gangs fighting. Can a child stop these two gangs from fighting? Interesting dynamics here, and what Dick and his actions have done, and how it rubs off on others. That could come off bad, huh? Well, anyway, Dick and his sister also have an argument, which only really or disagreement, I should say. It only lasts for about 2 pages, and then some more revelations get revealed, which were sort of obvious to all the readers. And this issue has very good art, so if you're a Nightwing fan, this is definitely one you're probably going to want to continue reading and checking out. It's pretty darn good. If you're not a Nightwing fan, this is probably not the issue as a jumping on point or anything, but I'm not saying it's bad either. Now, let's move on to the next book. We're going to go to Marvel with Sam Wilson, Captain America number 3, with a 3.5 average rating out of 45 ratings, mostly positive. Not strong sales probably with this book considering those numbers. And of course, Marvel, they're using the name and everything and the MCU to try to capitalize and increase comics in this regard, and they probably should. I just wish they would do it in a better way. The writer's Greg Pak, as well as Evan RCC, and artist Valentine D. Landro and Eder Messias, whatever it is. And, well, here's the thing. As I said, they gave it a 3.5. I gave the book a 7.3. Captain America, Falcon, and the unpredictable Josiah X find themselves at the mercy of the sinister forces running Eagle Star. Now, I say Captain America, I mean Sam Wilson, Falcon Captain America, and Falcon the new Falcon, right? Their escape may depend on the Red Hulk. Not really, not in this issue here, but we're going to get more anyway. This is a throwback. You get a throwback in this issue, by the way, to Snap Wilson. I thought that was a nice touch. A true Falcon fan will understand what I'm talking about there. And just before anybody bashes me, I am a Sam Wilson fan of the character in the comic books, okay? I'm still not a big fan of him being Captain America. I think he should have stayed his name as Falcon. Still could have given him a shield, red, white, and blue, it don't matter, right? Because he was a cool character on his own. But anyway, we have General Thunderbolt Ross continues to be in this story, and let's just bring up a question. Why is he in this book? Because he's actually being held by Doctor Doom in another comic book right now, so it doesn't really make sense. Whoever's in charge of the continuity right now, I think, is missing the mark on this one, but correct me if I'm wrong there. Sam and his sister continue to discuss what I call the not that they can discuss there they discover. I'm sorry, they discover as they're discussing and find out something going crazy here. What I call the Democrat gas. Yep, Democrat gas. It's, in other words, a bunch of gas used to control people and manipulate people. Some people are going to be mad because of what I just called it, but let's be honest, that's what happens, right? We say something long enough, people believe it. That's the Democrat gas right there, even though it's untrue. Well, they're actually gassing people and trying to get them to manipulate them and use them for their skills and things like that on this island, which I'm sorry, but that sounds familiar. And the one of the reasons I mention that is because that's the one issue I have with this. You know, Sam Wilson is a good character on his own. A great character is Falcon. Before anybody asks me, I've got Falcon action figures and everything else. I am a big fan. My problem I have is this. Marvel never ceases to grab the low-hanging fruit. Just because the character is black, his stories almost always have to revolve around the color of his skin and race. There is way too much focus on race. Give us some stories without focus on race. You know, I get it. They want to farm this. Once again, low-hanging fruit. But if you want to truly write a good story, maybe try to go outside of that. Just treat him as a normal human being. And that's the thing. If we want to overcome racism, we've got to stop segregating ourselves in how we look at each other. I mean, he's a man, a human. That's all we need to know. We don't have to, by the color of his skin, constantly be reminded of that. And as I said, it's not a bad issue. But I think that's degrading to the character and the value this character has when all we can do is write stories about his race. But you know, that's my thoughts on this particular issue. And I would like to know yours on it as well. Speaking of knowing more, let's dive into a couple other readers' comments. We have a 2.5-star review, and I'm going to click on that. It says, this legit took me 2 hours to finish. I kept just wanting to know when it would end. I don't like the writing, the art, the themes, anything really. This issue was slow and dull. I don't care about the characters a single bit. I think the whole brainwashing theme to work on a farm is a little bit of a crazy thing to do. The only thing I cared for was Bradley's backstory. That was good in my opinion. Going from the orphanage to war to being locked up and now having a family. Oh, and I like the flashbacks to when Sam was younger. A little cast, throw out the snap there. I just thought it was wholesome, especially when Billy got her money. So for a 2.5-star, that wasn't really that brutal. Let's look at a 4-star review. Decent story thus far. 3 issues in, and I'm totally invested now to see where the story goes. Love the flashback scenes and call out to a deluxe apartment in the sky. Yeah, I'm glad that you could tell some of these people that are fans of Falcon understand this. All right, so now, let's talk about a 0.5-star review. Very short one. It says, why is Captain America riding Falcon? And that actually happens. He's riding the Falcon in this issue. Yeah, let's read another one. It says, it's a shame they chose such a terrible artist for this book. The covers are bangers and the interiors will not match. Wow. There's some harsh people about the artwork here in this book. One more that's a 2.5-star. A lot of exposition and explaining character backstories. And that's true. It was a little slow in the pacing in that regard. So as you see, there's a very good mixture on this book. And before anybody throws out the race card, once again, I want you to notice nothing really was there mentioning any kind of racist thing that anybody that has something negative against in a Marvel book they love to throw out in our faces. Now let's shift gears again and talk about Silverhawks #2. Now, based on this, I don't see any information on League of Comics Geeks about this with other reviews, so I don't have a number to base that on. But it's written by Ed Brisson, and artist is George Cambidius. I don't know what that is, but whatever. Anyway, I gave the book, though, an 8.3. I think the reason it probably doesn't have is not enough people are picking up this book. It's probably not doing well, but I could be wrong. I don't think you have to be a Silverhawks fan to enjoy this book. I really don't. They're doing a great job of exploring the backstory, how these characters became what they are. And this one's pretty heartfelt. It plays a very good take onto the characters and showing how they came to be, how they got the medal, the upgrades, and all this stuff too. And it can be a bit of a dark story here. And anyway, we learn more about Bluegrass, and it's really an interesting story about how he gets betrayed here by his bandmate. And if anybody has ever been betrayed by a bandmate, you know what I'm talking about and how it hurt. And I talk about that from experience. This one hits close to home. I've been screwed over by bandmates before too. Whew, that's a whole nother story, which I might actually be doing a video series about, about being a washed up rock star / never was rock star, whatever you want to call me. They played a good show in this issue, and it was mentioned by Bluegrass's partner. They're either too drunk or too dumb to notice. And you know what? I think I've played shows like that too as well. Usually I'm not going to call them dumb. I'm going to say they're probably too drunk to notice about the show. Any band people here, musicians, if you know what I'm talking about, let me know that in the comments and your thoughts about that too. But this book really does give some great insight to the Bluegrass character, add some depth to him. I just wish this book could have a little bit better art, but I really do think the story is really good here. And even if you're not a Silverhawks fan, I suggest that you check it out. Hey guys, today's video is sponsored by my wallet. Yeah, I'm not trying to push any kind of wallet or pimp any wallet out. What I mean is it's sponsored by my personal wallet and the cash that comes out of it to pay for these things. If you want to help with this, you can hit like, subscribe, that notification bell. Those are great ways to get started. But if you find yourself in a position where you can help the channel more, we have a Patreon and a subscribe star down below that you can click on those links. And for as little as $1 a month, you'll have special videos and things to just you, music that you can get. Or maybe if you wanted to, a one-time donation just to help out, we have a Streamlabs link down below. Or we also have, if you go to the Patreon shop, you could buy a song for like $3. I wish I could put them a little lower, but that's the minimum they allow for that. So there's lots of options. Sometimes you might even see an Amazon link. If you want to buy anything through Amazon, click on my link first, then go through there. That'll give me a couple pennies possibly that way too as well. So there's lots of ways you can help out the channel, because without you, it would not be possible. So thank you everybody. And let's get back to the video. The next one I want to talk about is Batman Superman World's Finest, number 37, with a 3.7 average rating out of 178 ratings, which means it's mostly positive. And I gave the book not as high, a 7 out of 10. The writer is Mark Waid, artist is Adrian Gutierrez. And, well, we have more about the underwater fighting here. Superman and Batman have a code against killing. Yep, we all know that. But does the King of Atlantis? As they fight the Floronic Man. Yep, as he makes his final play for domination over this, in the seas, right? Aquaman is forced to react as a warrior and not a superhero. And there will be consequences, it says. Well, here's the thing. Superman's a homewrecker. You heard me. Superman's a homewrecker in this issue. No, don't put too much on him. It's not his fault, right, that the chicks dig him and want to kiss him. Our heroes continue to fight that weed underwater, which I don't care about this Floronic Man. I think it's sort of lame. He's just a weed underwater, if you ask me. The whole story and issue is really just mid, and the art really suffers the same thing. It's mid-level art as well. But you know what? Let's look at some other people's reviews and get their perspectives as well. Let's first look at a 2.5-star review. It says, this was an okay arc. I did like that they brought back Lori and Ronald, but the whole cheating thing dropped super quick. I get Superman wouldn't do that, but the reason Lori gives is basically, I'm sorry, but it's your fault. And the villain is kind of boring. Wow, that one hits a lot of the notes that I just said. So let's see if we can find something that goes and counterbalances that with a 3.5-star review. So it wasn't Superman. It was either her who was cheating in front of her husband. At least she recognized that she was very wrong on what she did. This wasn't a bad ending. But what I said earlier, this is no longer a World's Finest story. It's an Aquaman story, which isn't bad. Okay, I'm going to stop there on that one. Let's jump to another one that's 3 stars. Kind of split on this issue and arc. I love the Floronic Man and Swamp Thing appearances. Didn't care for the Lori Ronald stuff, though. And Gutierrez's art really isn't hitting for me. Yeah, I have to agree there. Just not great in the art. But let's really go to a different one. Let's go with a 5-star. This was cute. I like the focus Ronald and Lori's relationship got. Feels like both a reconciliation of the changes Crisis created while acknowledging its place in continuity with pre-Crisis lore. Wow, that's a definitely different one. Let's look at another 5-star to help counterbalance it. World's Finest keeps winning. Another great Silver Age feeling story. Okay, so as you see here, there's a mixed bag of people like me that think the story was a little mid and the characters were a little humdrum, boring, and thought that the cheating angle was a really stupid thing, really. It just wasn't done well. And let's shift gears once again to the Avengers number 24. Yes, this one had 3.8 out of 157 ratings, mostly positive, but I gave the book a 7.2. First of all, the cover just does not do it for me. This cover, it was a 1-point perspective, everything going out, but it just wasn't good. It didn't have any action, any feel to it. It didn't really even make sense. Why is the black cat upside down flying through the air? It just doesn't really make any sense. The writers Jed McKay and artist is Farid Kermani, but butchered again. Anyway, house rules, king always wins. The finale of the casino story arc is upon us here in this issue, and the Avengers are going all in. But can they win against the players like Grandmaster and all the rest? Well, you have to read to find out, sort of. Let's be honest, this Avengers book, they're going to win. As I said, the cover art, not so great. Don't like it. The interior art, though, is not bad. It's a decent story, and I do say it could have been better. At least it puts a better twist at the end for Black Cat, that she didn't really expect Kane to win. That's why she worked with him. It was a little bit heartfelt as well, but I will say this. I do hope the next story is better. I know the Avengers, I keep liking to go bigger and bigger. It seems like every writer tries to trump the next one and how big of a story. But there comes some times you just need smaller, more grounded stories that maybe keep the characters more in check, gives you a little more depth, and I think that's where we're falling into this. Let's look at some other people's reviews. This one is a 3-star review. Vision admits what we all know. Scarlet Witch is a walking cheat code. It's almost humorous that in the rundown of action items for the Avengers, her task was to use her magic to save everyone. Couldn't you say that at any time? Well, that makes some sense. She can make anything imaginable happen anytime. Not exactly, though. I don't agree with that. Nothing is really impossible for her. You want thousands of people to teleport off of an exploding starship. Blink her eyes and it's done. On the other end of the spectrum, Sam and Iron Man were completely I can't say that word today. Useless. How about that? Doing a thing of consequence. Just got drawn into some panels. Superfluous. Hey, I got the word out finally. Woo, you would think I'd be able to talk by now, wouldn't you? Another thing, they suggested Black Cat is responsible for sabotaging Kane's ship, but don't bother to create a reasonable scenario by which she could do it. Well, that's the thing. This issue was really loaded with MacGuffins. Just could have been done better. Let's look at another review here, which go with a 3.5. The art is simply stunning. Everyone and everything is just downright gorgeous. This was a good issue that wrapped up his heist as art nicely. Really enjoyed everything going on with it, with Felicia here, and it was nice to get some movement in the Kang plot line there. Okay. And mentions Doom and the new Masters of Evil is next, and it should be fun. Let's jump down to a 3-star. This was a fine Black Cat story, but I don't know, man. I love Jed McKay's work on Moon Knight and X-Men, but this whole Avengers run just feels more mid to me. That seems to be more where I'm going at. Let's look at a 2.5-star review. Picked up this from the Jeff cover. Really? Somebody picked this up because of probably from one of the alternate covers. Yep. Okay. Yeah. I would assume. I can't picture why else you would have picked this one up for that cover, but ooh, okay. Let's see here. In a 5-star review, precious. So as you see here, there's a lot of mixed views on this one as well, but I just find it more of a mid-tier book. And the last one I want to talk about is G.I. Joe. Really? That wasn't a joke, people. Break out your guns. It's guns for G.I. Joe. Really? I'm going to fire my sound guy. Hey, yeah, sound guy. Let me give you something. There, I guess now I have to hire a new sound guy. G.I. Joe number 5 had a 4.3 rating, which is very positive out of 165 ratings. That's a good average there. Writer is Joshua Williamson, artist is Tom Riley. G.I. Joe versus Cobra some more. Yes, if you've been keeping track, this is a brutal series, and there continues to remain brutal. They were captured, the Joes were, and can they break free? And did they have something planned inside? Or is good old G.I. Joe, the team there with Duke pulling something out of his rear to get us through? Well, I think clutch comes out in a clutch, if you know what I'm talking about here. Cobra Commander shows that he is one cold, heartless leader in this issue too. There is more brutal fighting, and boy, I like the final page. The final page, you could tell what's going on in the last few panels. Something's up, and it's like, oh crap, something's gonna happen. And so therefore, pretty good. The standard cover of this issue is okay, but what I think really, I think it sells the book more. There's some variant covers that really, in my opinion, would sell this book better. I'm not one that goes out and gets multiple covers. I get one book, but I'm just saying, if you had that choice to pick, this wouldn't be the cover. There's several, almost every other covers are better. This isn't bad, but there's some really good ones. Like the retail exclusive with Cobra Commander is really cool. But nonetheless, story is good. If you're not reading G.I. Joe, I'm sorry, but I think you should. This book has been running on all cylinders. I gave this book an 8.5. Even if you're not a G.I. Joe fan, this might change you and make you a G.I. Joe fan. But you know what? That's my opinion, not yours. Speaking of opinions, let's check out somebody else. Let's check out a 4.5-star review. Holy guacamole! This issue blows the previous ones out of the water. It's so crazy. It feels like I say that for every one of these, but for everyone, it's true. Over in Transformers, it always seems like our heroes are on their back foot. So it's nice to see the Joes getting some leverage, and it feels so earned. Duke and Risk's character progression here is really good. Okay, there's more to it, but I'm going to skip on to another one. I'm looking for a lower one, but I'm not finding it. So here's a 4-star review. Doesn't get better than Baroness cleaning her rifle. Yo, Joe. We're talking about the cover. That is a great cover with Baroness cleaning her rifle, by the way. Yeah, really good. Really, I see no low-star reviews here. So I can't give you anything really that negative. It earns its very positive. Once again, you should be checking out too. All right, so what did I miss? What should I be checking out? Share your thoughts below. I would love it. And I want to say thank you to everybody for sticking through with this video. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and thank you for everybody that's been joining the channel. I really appreciate it. And the people that support the channel through things like Patreon or Subscribestar or any other means that you do. If you're not financially able to support the channel, hey, I get it. Times can be tough. Just leaving a comment and a thumbs up is very, very helpful, and I appreciate it. You're helping in analytics. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Take care, everybody, and until next time, keep it real.